The world is upside down. And I have been praying and praying and praying, looking for an answer. Do you remember when I told you last summer about a meeting that I had? It was remarkable. I didn't think it was a miracle at the time, but I've quoted it on this program over and over again. It was a meeting with a really sweet elderly lady. At first when I met her, she said we could only take pictures of her hands. She loosened up again a little later. Eventually she said we could take a picture of her face. And I love this picture because this woman is remarkable. You may remember her. I've talked about her on the program before. Her name is Paulina. I've told you the story. She's one of the righteous Gentiles among the nations. She's a Christian woman. She was 16 in World War II. When the world went dark all around her, she did not. Neither did her family. She lived in a Polish ghetto during World War II, and a young girl came to her in the ghetto one day, starving, so frail, you could only feed a Jew 230 calories. And this girl came up to her and said, "Please, anything, do you have any food?" It was illegal to feed a Jew. If you did, not only would you be killed, but your entire family would be killed. Most wouldn't risk the consequences of helping their fellow man. She told this young girl, "Meet me here tomorrow." They sat down at the dinner table as a family, and Paulina said, I told somebody that I will help feed them tomorrow. Everybody put their forks down and stared at Paulina for a while. And that's when her mother got up and put on a pot of soup. The family had made their decision. Paulina brought it, a bowl of soup, to that girl the next day. And from there, they just kept going. Eventually, the family saved the lives of 500 Jews. And it all started with a bowl of soup. It took me about a week to understand that. When I got home, I told that story to my kids again, and I said, I understand it. She had one decision to make. Will I go over the cliff with the rest of humanity, or will I remain a human being? She told me that was the secret. Along with God, those are the two things. You have to have something that's bigger than you that you answer to. And she said, you have to remember that the righteous did not suddenly become righteous. They didn't hop into a Superman cape on the other side of a phone booth. They just remained human. They didn't follow everyone else over the cliff like the rest of humanity. How many times have I told that story on the show? It didn't all come together for me until about 2 months ago when I was approving a design of a t-shirt. It's this t-shirt with the hammer. I will not comply. I put them together. 1, what regulation will universally pull us together, not divide us? 2, the government says Americans can't help other Americans. 3, Paulina tells me the righteous didn't just become righteous, they just refused to go over the cliff. The one thing we can all agree on, when the government tells you that you cannot do it, when you cannot feed somebody who is hungry, deep down we all know that's wrong. We feel it, we know it, but we don't say anything. And if we don't stand up and say, I will not comply no matter what the consequences are, if we don't do what is right, eventually that instinct in us, it's like a pilot light. It goes out. We'll be like Darth Vader. I mean, there might be good in you, but you've put on the computer mask thingamajig and it's buried deep down inside. It will fundamentally change us. That is the problem we're facing today. America is great because America is good. They want us to stop being good. The minute we let 80,000 pages of regulation keep us from doing what is right for our fellow human being, it's lights out. And we become England, where so much regulation and the people have been taught so much that they actually there were people from London all around the city park. And there was a person who had an epileptic seizure, and he fell into 3 feet of water face down, and people let him drown to death because nobody wanted to get involved. And then when the rescue teams did, they didn't have the proper certification to jump into the water that was 3 feet high. Screw the certification, man. Jump in the water. I will not comply. I will not go over the cliff with the rest of humanity. That's the secret that allows us to be who we are. It allows us to unite with people. Who's going to argue that feeding the homeless is a bad thing? And if they can make that case, we're too far gone anyway. It allows us to break the back of regulation.